Welcome to the in-depth exploration of Syria's civil war and the intricate web of factors that led to its rekindling. This conflict has left an indelible mark on the geopolitical landscape, reshaping the very fabric of the Middle East. From the lens of history, economics, and politics, we will delve deep into the roots of this crisis and chart its course to present day. Our journey starts in the early 2010s, a period marked by the wave of the Arab Spring that was sweeping across the region. Citizens of repressive regimes dared to dream of a better, more democratic future, buoyed by the winds of change and the power of social media. In Syria, too, hope and aspirations began to flicker. However, the response from the Bashar al-Assad regime was brutal, transforming the burgeoning protest movement into an armed rebellion. This triggered a full-scale civil war that has arguably been one of the most devastating of the Arab Spring uprisings. Over the years, numerous factors have fueled and sustained this conflict: unresolved political tensions, economic collapse, and the tussle for control among the government forces, rebel groups, and foreign interests. At its core, the conflict in Syria has been as much about power dynamics as it has been about ideological differences. The Assad regime, hailing from the Alawite minority, has long held the reins, propelling the country into an authoritarian quagmire. The Sunni majority, on the other hand, has borne the brunt of the regime's oppressive policies. As the unrest spread, sectarian tensions rose to the fore. The Kurdish component in northeast Syria, emboldened by the chaos, sought to establish its authority, adding another layer of complexity to the conflict. Meanwhile, the presence of ISIS further aggravated the situation, perpetuating a brutal reign of terror. The economic fallout of the war has been equally disastrous. What once was a thriving economy now lies in shambles, grappling with inflation, unemployment, and widespread poverty. These economic hardships, exacerbated by sanctions and the pandemic, have only increased the Syrian population's desperation. Amidst this chaos, foreign interests have opportunistically played their cards, further exacerbating the conflict. The US, Russia, Iran, and Turkey have all thrown their weight behind different factions to advance their respective strategic objectives, resulting in a precarious balancing act on the international stage. Despite this grim backdrop, there were moments of hope when the warring sides agreed to ceasefires and de-escalation zones. But these episodes of tranquility were often short-lived, punctuated by sudden bursts of violence and the relentless pursuit of power and control. Gradually, the infighting within the rebel groups and the challenges of governance in the territories they controlled weakened their unity, providing the Assad regime with opportunities to make strategic gains. His forces, backed by Russian air power and Iranian militia, not only recaptured key territories but also made significant inroads into the rebel-held areas. As the pendulum of fortune swung in the Assad regime's favor, it sought to consolidate its power, focusing on areas where the rebels remained entrenched. This, in turn, reignited hostilities, as resistance forces, unwilling to accept the status quo, fought back with renewed vigor. Compounding the situation, the sporadic explosions of violence led to a new humanitarian crisis, with civilians caught in the crossfire. Their plight underlines the human cost of this bitter conflict and the urgent need for a solution. Meanwhile, the Kurdish forces, who had proven to be effective in combating ISIS, sought to carve out an autonomous region, further complicating Syria's internal dynamics. Their aspirations stoked the ire of Turkey, a NATO member with a long-standing conflict against Kurdish separatist groups within its territory. Consequently, the Kurdish question escalated the regional tensions, adding a new layer of complexity to the civil war. The multitude of conflicts and interests makes it abundantly clear that no single factor can be held responsible for Syria's tragic situation. Instead, it is the interplay of these factors that has created a cauldron of chaos, unruly and unpredictable, challenging and complex. Amidst this chaos, the Syrian people continue to bear the brunt. Millions are forcibly displaced, both within the country and beyond its borders. The resulting refugee crisis not only bears catastrophic humanitarian implications but also poses a significant strain on the region's stability. Subsequent attempts at peace, however, continue to be marred by waning international interest and the conflicting goals of the involved parties. The 2017 Astana peace process, propelled by Russia, Iran, and Turkey, underscored the struggle for a common ground. And despite intermittent dialogues, achieving sustainable peace remains a distant goal. The repercussions of the Syrian war have been felt beyond the country's borders. The refugee crisis has significantly impacted neighboring countries in Europe, sparking debates on immigration policies and fueling the rise of right-wing populism. Internationally, the conflict has redefined geopolitical alliances. The intervention of regional powers and the Russo-American rivalry have highlighted the shift in the global balance of power, throwing a spotlight on the changing dynamics in the Middle East. Nevertheless, there are flickers of hope that amidst the ruins, Syria can emerge, reshaped and renewed. As the international community grapples with the enormity of the crisis, humanitarian agencies provide a glimmer of hope, working on the ground to alleviate the suffering of the Syrian people. These efforts, though commendable, serve as a stark reminder of the deep-rooted challenges that lie ahead. For peace, for reconciliation, for Syria to climb out of the chasm of its shattered yesterdays will demand more than good intentions. It will challenge the very character of the international order, the meaning of sovereignty, and the conflicting call of self-interest and collective security. On this note, our story ends, but the tale of Syria's civil war, like the country itself, is far from over. As we keep an eye on unfolding events, we hold on to the hope that Syria will once again, rightfully claim the mantle of the cradle of civilization and that peace will eventually return to this land.